Hi folks, Florida Man here, bringing you a video explaining a common diplomacy maneuver. Today, we're exploring how the sea lion opening works, who uses it, why they use it, and how well it works. The sea lion involves Russia, France, and Germany, all ganging up on little old England. The attack is named after a real-life Nazi plan to invade England, which thankfully ultimately never came to a successful fruition. The idea is to surround England with fleets and invade the island while simultaneously cutting off England's usual path to early growth in Scandinavia and Belgium. You stifle England before it ever has a chance to put down roots anywhere besides the island. This is the ultimate anti-English opening, one of the most effective openings for destroying another player's game that's available in diplomacy. There is no comparable opening that so ruins the chances of France or Germany or Italy. With solid coordination, England is shockingly vulnerable to an early knockout punch in 1901 and 1902 to almost the same extent as Austria if the enemy is devoted enough. England may not be killed as quickly as Austria, but it can be crippled even more completely than the Austrian player can, because unlike Austria, England has to exert power by sea in order to be effective. If you can ground the English fleets and force them into defending the island, England is on borrowed time. The way it works is that Russia opens north, which is to say that Russia moves St. Petersburg out as usual, but moves Moscow up into St. Petersburg to compete with England for Norway. France goes for the Channel and Picardy, while Germany moves to Denmark, Ruhr, and Kiel. Neither France nor Germany goes to Burgundy, because that would only undermine their trust and cooperation. In the fall, England has to make hard choices. Should he guarantee Norway, using 2 units to make sure he takes it? Or should he gamble on getting another centre more toward the centre? Should England convoy into Norway or move a fleet in? And can England trust a neighbour to provide support for one of these moves? Depending on how the spring moves went and what the relationships are, one of the players who's part of the Sea Lion may be able to persuade England to make an unsupported move for Norway and try for Belgium at the same time. If you can get England to do that, such a decision is likely to make England's position even weaker. If England doesn't support the move into Norway, Russia can bounce England out of that centre, leaving England with no builds. Even if England does support the move to Norway, as long as Germany lets Russia into Sweden, which is what typically happens in a Sea Lion opening, Russia can prepare to force England out of Sweden in 1902. Elsewhere, German and French fall moves will typically be to seize Holland and Belgium and either move to Irish Sea or convoy onto England. If England convoyed off of the English island, a French unit in Irish Sea, or an army on the English island should be an immediate threat to Liverpool. In 1902, Russia takes Norway from England. France and Germany work together to seize the North Sea and/or convoy an army onto the English island, and after this, it's all downhill for England. The division of the spoils is typically that Belgium and 1 English centre go to one of the 2 Western powers, while the other 2 English centres go to the other Western power. Russia keeps Norway and Sweden and gets the theoretical benefit of having no competition to dominate the North. I never recommend taking the Belgian half of the split, by the way, if you're one of the Western powers. It's harder to keep Belgium than it is to keep 2 English centres. And this is going to sound strange, but I have to say it. Assessing this opening, I kind of hate it, because it's too effective. Sometimes it takes longer than you'd like, but the Sea Lion almost always succeeds in killing England off within 3 or 4 years, at most, because it's impossible for England to compete against the devoted opposition of all 3 of its neighbours. There's an unsportsmanlike feeling one gets when the opponent really has no chance of withstanding the strategy you're employing. However, if you believe the English player is a threat, or you're just uneasy about having England constantly lurking in the corner, the Sea Lion is an excellent opening to nip that threat in the bud. It gets the job done, although I think the result is usually a somewhat Pyrrhic victory for either Germany or Russia, since either Russia and France will then attack Germany, or Germany will then be free to go after Russia, no longer having to worry about England. But that's a concern to resolve with your diplomacy, and it says nothing against the effectiveness of this opening. I hope you liked this opening explanation. If you liked it, please like and subscribe to Florida Man Diplomacy. If you really liked it, consider joining the people whose names now appear on screen by providing further support through Patreon or through subtitle translations. Thank you for watching this Florida Man Diplomacy production, and until next time, Florida Man out.